Hello there. Netflix just dropped a fucking stinker called The Last Days of American Crime, and occasionally I'll watch a movie that's so bad I don't want to put it on the moist meter, and this is one of those cases. Main reason I don't want to moist meter this one is because I feel like just giving it a low score like 10% or something might make someone think, maybe it's so bad it's good. It's not. It sucks. It blows ass. If this movie had a face, I would slap it. It's 2.5 hours of agony, just pure time wasting. The first sin you need to be aware of with this movie is that it's directed by the same guy who made Taken 3. You know, the infamous jumping the fence scene that has 15 cuts in 6 seconds? Yeah, imagine that stretched out across 2.5 hours. Now, admittedly, he used significantly less cuts in this movie than his previous work, so he seems to be gradually improving in that department over the course of like 5 or 6 years. So, it's great. He's on the come up now. In fact, I'd argue in each action scene in this movie, there's probably only about 10 cuts per 6 seconds, so he's starting to get the average down. But unfortunately, while he took one step forward with his action, he took 20 steps backwards in every other department. It kind of just fucking sucks on all fronts, especially when it comes to narrative and writing and characters and pretty much just general movie making. But I want to start with something I liked here because there is something I liked here, and it's the premise. It's based on a graphic novel, and the premise of the movie is America has developed this new technology that is a signal that gets pumped across the entire country that inhibits anyone's ability to perform an unlawful action no matter what. It's just some fucking goofy radio wave that gets pumped out at the push of a button that taps into people's brains and shuts off their ability to break the law. It's like a concept you'd read from someone who's afraid of Wi-Fi. It's really fucking goofy, but I do like what they could have explored with that idea, turning the whole country into a police state where everybody's freedom has been stripped of them by having a signal rewiring their brain. And I think that's an interesting thing they could have explored, which they don't. The movie focuses on three people that just want to commit the last crime America will ever see by stealing $1 billion as a big fuck you. And honestly, that could be pretty cool too if the characters weren't so insufferably edgy and the writing didn't seem like it was trying so goddamn hard to be cool. The dialogue between these characters is the dumbest shit I've seen in a while. It's like it was actually written by someone's 12-year-old that's going through their goth phase for the first time. And I'm not exaggerating, it really is just super fucking bad. Like, the first time we're introduced to the female main character, she comes into a bar where we see our main character who's feeling sorry for himself, drowning his problems in alcohol. He just got bad news. His brother's killed himself in prison, and, he's just not happy about it. But our female lead marches right up to him, takes an ice cube out of his drink, sucks on it, puts it back in, and they fuck in the bathroom. After he's ejaculated inside of her, after about 45 seconds of awkward watching of thrusting in the bathroom, she looks in the mirror and says, "Cross that off my to-do list." Main character says, "What?" She says, "Fuck the loser." And that's where that scene ends. Honestly, I was expecting more cuts during the sex scene. I'm pretty sure there weren't any, and I think it was just one static shot of just watching this thrusting against the wall. Knowing this man's directorial decisions, I was half expecting like 20 cuts to come in where I get like a nutsack shot, a quick glance at the nutsack, and then bang a little bit of shaft. You don't want to show too much shaft. Then bang titties, and then bang face, sack, face, done. He could have definitely put more cuts in here is what I'm saying. In fact, I almost missed the cuts. It was just weird watching a static shot of that for so long. I think maybe at this point in this man's directing career, he should just rely on like 1,000 cuts per scene. At least have something unique about it as opposed to just some generic garbage now, because this movie takes generic shit we've all seen before and just makes it worse somehow. And I really can't stress just how hard it tries to be cool. Every character is like an evil character with goofy, comical, evil supervillain dialogue. For example, one of the main's dads is a bad guy, So when the main comes to the dad, he's like, "Dad, you're a bad guy because of this." And then the dad's like, "Well, son, you're a bad guy because you fucked your mother." "No, Dad, that was my stepmom, and I introduced you to my stepmom, and I fucked her because I don't like you, Dad." And he says, "Well, son, who fucks their own stepmother?" And that's the argument that they have. Like, it's just really trying so hard to be like edgy and cool, and while that's not the best example of it, it's still just some dumb shit. But I think the biggest sin of this movie is its runtime. It is 2 hours and 29 minutes. That is far too long for a movie that is just so choppy, all over the place. There's for an action movie, there's really not much action, and when there is, it's really underwhelming shit with not a whole lot going on or a whole lot of moving parts or interesting things. It's fucking boring. It is a slog. It's a fucking chore to watch. It is not good. For a movie about being unable to commit crime, the fucking director committed the biggest crime of all and made this movie so fucking long just to waste as much time as possible from the audience. Which is a shame because, like I said, the concept is cool, and I do think the actors did try at least to put on a performance given what they had to work with, and I respect that. But man, the movie is just so all over the place, and that's another thing. The editing in this movie doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, scenes will just jump all over the place without anything connecting them, just all very loose. Towards the end of the movie, it feels so rushed that it all falls apart. It's so fucking dumb, and I'm really upset because it has my boy Charlton Copley in it, and I fucking love him. I think he is a criminally underrated actor who is so talented but keeps landing some bad roles and some bad shit. This being one of those, which is a shame, but again, I am a huge Copley fan, and his character in this movie isn't that bad, but even his character just feels like a useless, dumb character. Like, it just, all of it just feels so fucking empty. So 2.5 hours, not worth spending watching this movie. That's what I wanted to talk about. Just not a fun movie. Not so bad it's good, just a shitty movie. And yeah, that's about it. So yeah.